Good morning to everyone, and good afternoon to the folks on the East Coast. I'm glad to have you here today with us. We actually are happy to have Alberto Schiavon, the owner of Chalet Sogno in the Dolomites in Madonna di Campiglio in Trento area. And we're happy to share information about this destination, which is becoming more popular for the American market, not only for the winter, the skiing season, but also in the summer, as you can easily combine it while you're curating itineraries in northern Italy with different destinations. So we're going to have actually about 20 minutes as we have a lot to cover, especially on destination and activities, besides the beautiful gem boutique property that which is Chalet del Sogno. Alberto will tell us more about the history about the property. He's actually a former Olympian snowboarder for Italy, so knows his mountains inside and out. Is a great guide for the clients staying with him. So is your concierge or travel planner for curating stays depending on the skills of your clients, as they can recommend what's best for them either in the summer or in the winter season. So thank you for so many of you for joining us today. And then after the presentation, we'll have time to answer any questions. So please use the chat for the questions, and we'll be happy to answer those or use the questions whenever you have something that we have not covered. I would be happy to go through those as quickly as possible. This webinar is always recorded, and you can also find it in the future on our Lush Experiences website. At the bottom of the page, you have links to the social media channels as well as YouTube. And on YouTube, that's where we saved our past webinars, so you can find them there. And also, if you want to go there, and we actually upload in some of the previous ones now, and so you can find also the previous ones we've just hosted recently. So I'm happy to have Alberto with us. And actually, you can see here in the background, I have Sogno, which I wish I was there now, which is, I know you're closed during this season, so it's mud season, but it's still a beautiful time of the year.
So, hi everyone, and thank you for attending. Thank you, of course, for taking the time, and happy to introduce you to the place where I was born, where my family built up this property, and happy to be assisted by Lush and be followed by all of you. So just to start, first of all, if anyone cannot see the screen, maybe just send us a chat or a message. You should see the screen which says, enter the dream, the sogno. The dream obviously means in Italian sogno. And what you see on this photo on the back here is actually the Dolomites of Brenta. So this is just around the corner, and this is where I grew up. The Chalet del Sogno, it's the small boutique hotel, small 18-suite property built by my family in 2006. We're nowadays represented obviously by Lush Experiences, so thanks Giuseppe, Joe, and all his team for assisting us in North America and Central. We're also part of the Internova, but we was happy to extend all the amenities to any other of the other collections, and we also Serendipians. How it is? This is how it looks like the Chalet del Sogno. Giuseppe mentioned before, we're right now closed. We only close a couple of months per year. So we close in May, and we actually close also in November. The rest of the season, we basically have two main seasons, so June to October, and we also have end of November, beginning of December, all the way to the middle of April. Usually we go till Easter. So those are the two main periods. As you can see, the property has its own style. It's a very much an Alpine-oriented style, and you can see also one of the key points, it's a ski and ski out property. So the lift is right next to our door. Just to introduce myself, and I always do this because it also helps you if you have any more questions, because I've been spending my previous 25 years traveling around the world. My main sport was when I was young was ski and biking. Then I become a snowboarder, and I've been part of the Italian team for 3 Olympic Games. bringing home a couple of luckily medals, and I won 3 times the World Cup. So that basically helped me to travel from Alaska to New Zealand, from China to Siberia, from Canada to Chile, and that gives me obviously a lot of vision and a lot of views of all the other resort, not only in not only in winter, but also in summertime. Beside this, I became a sommelier when I was starting working in the property in 2015, biking guide and as well as local guide. And this helped me to develop a lot of knowledge and experience through the years. So as I was speaking before, the Chalet del Sogno was built in 2006. It was a dream of my parents, and this dream came true when they built it from scratch. So there was nothing here. Why? The why is very simple. We didn't have a home when my father retired. We need to build up our home, and the area here, due to the zoning, was not allowing to build any let's say a private accommodation. They only give the chance to build touristical destination. And my parents has this dream to bring their experiences, their love for the mountains, their 45 years that they lived here into reality, in something that other friends and guests could experience. And this is how we became the Chalet del Sogno. This is the very first original draft that you can see. This is there is normally I've written here, we put this as a postcard in the room. It's 2002, and it was called Romantic Due Pini Chalet. It was built as a bioarchitectural principle, which means we only use local materials, and it was also designed with a geothermal system heating, which is quite unique. Nobody else had it at the time, to be already back then very, very sustainable. Where are we? So we go more like after a short introduction on what it is, the Chalet del Sogno. Just keep in mind we're talking about 18 suite. So very small, very, very cozy, very Alpine oriented. We are in Madonna di Campiglio. Madonna di Campiglio, it's a famous destination. It's actually a town, the town that goes from around let's say 1,000 people living in the low season. In up season, we're 32,000. So when I explain what is Madonna di Campiglio, I always make a lot of comparison to Aspen, to Vail, and one of my favorite destinations is probably Telluride. When I say this, it's a little bit like mention you Cortina e Campiglio, it's like Vail and Aspen. So we're like cat and dogs. Campiglio, Madonna di Campiglio is part of the Epic Pass. Not that we're owned by Epic Pass, but we collaborate versus Cortina and the rest of the area, which is an Icon. For the one that doesn't know skiing, Icon is basically owned by Aspen, and Epic is owned by Vail. Epic is a collaboration of ski resorts around the world, which include Park City, which include Whistler, and so on. In Europe, they cooperate with us, Madonna di Campiglio, with Verbier, with Lec and Zurs, and the best basically ski destination. So back on the first thing, Campiglio is this lovely town. You can see it from the balcony of the hotel. Where it is about 3 hours from Venice, main airport, 3 hours and a half, and 3 hours and a half from Milano Malpensa. I call this the magic triangle. As you can see it, you have Venice, Milano. Here on the south, you have Verona, which is only 2 hours, and Garda Lake, which is only 1 hour. Why I call it the golden triangle? Because when you want to design a journey for your clients, whichever is summer or winter, this allows you to build up great itinerary. Great itinerary means not only, for example, flying to Rome or flying to Florence and then take a train, because as you know, Italy is divided in 2 axes. One axis is Munich through Innsbruck, Verona, Trento, Bologna, Florence, and Rome, and the other axis is Venice, Verona, Milano, Torino, and France. So this is the 2 main axes for trains. So if your clients, for example, wants to do 4 days in Rome and then come up, they can come up easily with a train in 5 hours, as well as Florence. But once they connected to this area, if they fly, for example, to Venice, they can do 2 days in Venice. They do 4 days in the Dolomites here in Madonna di Campiglio, and then 1 day off Milano. Or for example, if our super shopping oriented. They do a couple of days in Milano, they fly into Malpensa, then they do Garda Lake, for example, 3 nights in summer, and then they spend 3 days in the mountains with us. Or for example, one more could be they do 5 days skiing in Madonna di Campiglio, and then they do 2 nights in Verona. Verona is one of the very most visited city. It's smaller than the bigger ones, but it has everything to offer, from Shakespeare, Romeo and Giulietta, to the Arena di Verona, which is as beautiful as the Colosseum. There is very good shopping, great wine, the Amarone, the Valpolicella is right to here. So it's a very great combination to move it from us, Madonna di Campiglio, and the Dolomites, to Verona and to Garda Lake. Also, for example, another great itinerary is, and this is for the one that doesn't know the Dolomites as well so much, we are on the western part. Western part means western or Bolzano and Trento. Those are the Dolomites that belong to us. And this one instead, Cortina and the other region, this is South Tyrol when they speak German, and this is the other area of the Dolomites. So another itinerary could be 3-4 days visiting this one, and another 3-4 days visiting Cortina, which is uphill. It's basically saying I'll do 4 days skiing in Vale, and then I'll move 3-4 days to Alta or to Deer Valley. When I was comparing, and I was mentioning before, those are the main distances. So 2 hours and 15 to Verona, 3 hours and 20 to Venice, 3 hours and 20 to Milan, and also only 1 hour. From Madonna di Campiglio, I'll design bike tours. I just had a request from Miami. They didn't know how to design for their guests. They're very passionate about e-biking assisted. And I just designed them 4 days of trip, including 3 nights at Chalet del Sogno and 1 night in Riva del Garda. And those clients wants to move with the bike from Campiglio to Garda, which is about 4 hours downhill. This is just as a small example. Talking back to Madonna di Campiglio, as I mentioned before, why I said it looks like Telluride, because I think Telluride has a very high identity. It was a minery village, a town, which has a great skiing, but is also very beautiful in summertime. The level of the clientele, it's usually very high, up end, but not that as showing off or as chic as Aspen. So this is a little bit like Campiglio. We have a lot of people very famous, but they're a little bit like low profile a bit. They're more oriented into sport. They're more oriented into gastronomy. They're more oriented in very well-being, versus maybe Cortina, where the clientele is more going there to show off mainly. So more like less a bit of the sport and more a little bit of the showing. Madonna di Campiglio, it's considered nowadays one of the best ski destinations in the world. It's in the top 10, but it's also a very famous summer destination. It was actually born as a summer destination. So we're going back about 500 years when we have an hostel, a small hostel, Alpan Hostel, and the church. The church, which was obviously dedicated to the Madonna. If you go to the Musei Vaticani in Rome and you walk to the geography corridor, you'll see on the left-hand side the northern part of Italy, and you will see in the Roman Dictatum the name M. Campiglio. So we're going back a few hundred years. And in the end of the 18th century, it started to becoming very famous, very popular for the Austrian and Hungarian emperor. So the emperor was coming here for the beauty of a summer. Imagine that the golf course in Madonna di Campiglio, it's from 1910. So it's about 110 years of golf course designed by an English player. And in the late, let's say, 1911, the first group of English people, British people, they start to thinking that the skiing was very good. So we celebrate in 2011 the 100 years of skiing in Madonna di Campiglio. And this is when I apply a target here next to my home. This is some of the background of Madonna, and this is how it looks like. So why I am showing this picture, because I think it gives you a very good sense on how the destinations here. So this is Campiglio. It's located at 1,500 meters above the sea level, which is 4,500 feet. And the highest peak of the Dolomites here on the west side, this is 9,000 feet. And then there is on the right-hand side, which you can't see in this picture because it won't fit, there is the Adamello Glacier, which is the biggest glacier in Italy, and this is also only granite. So Madonna di Campiglio has this unicity that is surrounded on one side from the Dolomites, and on the other side from the granite peaks, the biggest ones as a glacier. And this makes it very unique when you're moving around, whichever is skiing or hiking or just simply staying in the town and looking around. He has this massive amount of nature around. It's surrounded 64% by national park. In wintertime, as I mentioned before, it's one of the biggest ski destinations. We feature 70 ski lifts and 145 miles of slope, connecting 4 resorts and 3 valleys. So basically, if you connect Aspen Snowmass with Aspen Buttermilk, with Aspen Island and Aspen itself, it gets almost the same size. With the fact that you start from my property, which is right here, the Chalet del Sogno, it's right next to the center and next to the lift, and you can travel all the way around without basically taking your skis off. So it's one ticket to connect 4 valleys. And this is something that is very hard to copy. As I was mentioned before, for the ones that are, let's say, living and want to see and living the dream of nature, this is probably one of the main area. It's still very much untouched. So if you imagine probably Zion, some of your national park, this is the idea. Tons of activity, tons of nature, tons of freedom. This is one of the unicity. Obviously, we're part of the UNESCO heritage. So the Dolomites were declared 2011. Madonna di Campiglio was part of it. And this is also very important because not everyone that is commercialized nowadays, the hotels, are actually in the Dolomites. When I mean I am in the Dolomites, or we are the Chalet del Sogno in the Dolomites, means that in 6 minutes you take a lift, or in 20 minutes you walk on a trail, or in 5 minutes of bike, and you are basically touching the Dolomites and you're watching the Dolomites. This is a photo that represents you what you can achieve within an hour. Of course, not everyone is going to do this, but it gives you the sense of the beauty and the sense of the majesty. Those are the Dolomites, and this on the background here is the Alps with the biggest glacier, the Adamello. One of the unicity, of course, is the Via Ferrata. We're also surrounded within an hour of drive by a lot of culture and heritage. This goes back to one of the biggest collection of castle that are in the Trentino region and some of the most beautiful borghi d'Italia. So especially for the summertime, it's also very nice to connect with alternatives. Let's say you do 2 days here hiking, 1 day you do sightseeing where you get a little bit of culture, a little bit of vineyards also, and then you come back here. This is the view from a simple trekking, 20 minutes out of the lift, just next to the hotel. And those area is the one where you develop the famous Via Ferrata. The very first Via Ferrata were developed here. They're called Via delle Bocchette, and they connect different huts that are placed in the different zones. So you move here in certain place. This is a little bit of the taste of the summer. So as you can see, the golf, the biking, the mountain biking is endless as well as the biking. Hiking is probably the major activity, and the all national connecting. Winter activities, this is how it looks like. Actually, the lift area, it's 360 degrees, so you're basically covered by the sun all day long. Sun comes up on the east and goes down on the west. We're starting from 2,100 feet from this area, Pinzolo, and we go all the way to 9,000 feet. This means that we're basically covering almost 4,500 vertical, and for Europe, you don't have to compare this with the continental climate of Colorado because we're obviously way lower, but for Europe, we're actually quite high. This guarantees us full snow coverage from the end of November to the middle of April. And if you're asking what the skills, it's one of the most convenient places in the world. You walk out of the hotel, you take the lift up, you have 30% beginner, 40% is red, so intermediate, and 30% is black, expert, which means that anybody can enjoy. If you think some of the places in Europe, but also in US, if you are a beginner, you cannot ski much here. because you're stuck in one of the slope. In Madonna di Campiglio, you actually not. You can travel from one place to the other because there is blue consistency. Or if you are, for example, an expert and your husband or your wife, they're not skiing as good as you are, you can still meet at the bottom of the run. Or one of the classic is having the kids at the golf course where they learn skiing. The mother wants to have the spa and then just take the lift up for lunch, and the father wants to do a lot of expert skiing, they're still gonna meet for lunch at the top of the lift. Each of these has a different refugio, super high gastronomy level, 15 different restaurants on the top of the mountain, and another 26 in the town. Imagine that 9 of them are listed in the Guide Michelin. This is some of the views of the Dolomites, 6 minutes out of the hotel. You take the lift up, and this is what you can see. This is some of the alternatives. So it's not only alpine skiing, it's not only downhill, it's not only snowboarding and snow park. There is one of the biggest snow park in the world, which is called Ursus, and we invented with my brother in 1999. But it's also a great destination for promenade, for sledding, and for alternative. There is a super fun run for the families as well. This basically gives you the opportunity to cover a lot of wishes. So entering in our world, so the Chalet del Sogno, mountain experience style. Why on mountain experience? Because all my team and also us, we wanted to be dedicated to the place where we are. We wanted to have an identity, and we wanted to present this and give the opportunity to your clients to experience this. Because a lot of places, they speak about authenticity, but not everyone is actually following this. So Alpine nature and tradition, you can see from some of these photos how it looks like and how it was built. Even the exterior of the hotel, they very much Alpine oriented. As we said before, we were awarded several times with the certifications, Ecolabel, and sustainability awards. We follow some of the highest standard, which means we're going from the geothermal system to the photovoltaic. There is no plastic in the entire property. All the different, let's say, garbage is completely separate, so glass from plastic, etc. The courtesy set in the room, it's all aluminum recycle. So there is a lot of attention. We give a Titran bottle to our guests as a warm gift, so they're not using any plastic bottle. This is the picture that represents the geothermal system. When we're saying about bioarchitectural means that only local material was used. If you probably look at the photo in my background, the entire property is built like this. So with large granites and limestone, all the rooms, you can still feel the ancient and this kind of particular smell that certain woods give you. And there is no chemicals in the entire property. Beside, we look for the highest comfort, which means all the rooms are completely thermo-isolated and also thermo-insulated and also insonorized, which means that you have the comfort to be super silent. At the same time, the air is constantly refreshed and have the temperature that can be reached in the way you want. Each of the rooms are completely different, 18 spacious and distinctive suites. The rich representing the Alpine style decor. What that means that my mother, she is a biologist, so she wanted to dedicate each of the room to different team that represented the flowers or the plants of the animal of the Dolomites. So each of the room has a different decor, has a different interior. We go from from 355 square feet to 555 square feet. For the biggest one, they can fit from 2 up to 4, so 2 adults and 2 kids. This is a junior suite Azzurro. This is, for example, the junior suite Rosseverde. And each of these, you can probably see, this is the famous Ciclamini, which is a family suite. This is the deer. You can see the details here. This is in old wood. So there is, let's say, any kind of room has a different atmosphere, also based on the color. This is a comfort suite with 2 ambients, and this is the squirrel one. And then that's the Panne Verde with another different interior, which gives a lot of relaxing and calmness. So our long-term guests, they usually choose the room that they want to stay with. This is the luxury suite Arancia dedicated to the marmots, as you can see. And the wood is, in this case, is Cirmolo. Back to the bathroom, most of them are equipped with either a jacuzzi or a big shower. thanks to the attention of Lush, we also switched some of the bath in biggest showers so they can welcome more the American market. This is some of the public area, is actually where I'm sitting, the lobby. And you can see how warm the atmosphere is in here, reading a book, an historical book from the area. This is part of the lobby always. This is our breakfast room, which is completely separate from the restaurants. It's on another level, very elegant with a nice light. This is some of the buffet. Obviously, we're following a full organic idea, so 0 kilometer. Most of our supplier, we know them directly. This is the lower part, the famous restaurant Due, which is one of the best in town, and it's also listed in the Guide Michelin. This is a particular wood and the dolomia on the backside that we put in this room. This is another little particular, and this is one of the pictures that probably represent the best the warmth and the atmosphere that we serve at the restaurants. The menu is divided in 4 or 5 territories that represent from the mountains and the pastures all the way to Garda Lake. So we try to represent the ingredients of each of the territory in the different sets of menu. And we welcome, of course, any kind of limitation, which is vegan or vegetarians or gluten-free, etc., etc. And not to finish, we have a wonderful spa for the ones that also wants to relax after a day of hiking or simply enjoying a week of gastronomy and relax. The spa is 700 square meter. It features 2 different saunas, all the bath, steam bath, etc. There is 3 different relaxing and massage room, and we have 3 therapists available for you. This is like actually the relaxing area with the water mattresses, and those are ergonomic seats. And not to finish, this is a little expression of what we do at Chalet del Sogno. When I say what we do is you tell us what do you like for your guest, what your guest wish, and the best you know them, and the better we deliver. We deliver means that it doesn't depend on the skills, on the wishes, on what they love. If, for example, if they're very foodie, or if, for example, they want to be very active, or, for example, they only wanted to see the Dolomites but do gastronomy and sunbath, we can always design it directly on your wishes. This is a short-term reason to say why you should come, because there is so many beautiful property in the Alps, there is so many beautiful properties in the Rockies, why you should come. And I think after about 30 years that I travel all over the world, it's not only my place where I was born, but I think it's one of the places that is unique for its facility to come here and to see a nature that is untouched, that is still really, really beautiful. So we have an eco-luxury approach. We have an authentic alpine heritage, and one family run, obviously, because the family is part of the crew here, part of the staff. Exclusive spa retreat, because you can always relax in our spa. Breathtaking Dolomites views. This is right out of the corner. Even from your room, you have beautiful view on the town of Madonna di Campigliano on the mountains. Primary ski access, ski in, ski out. Obviously, gourmet dining, the level of the kitchen, the cuisine in the entire village, but also at the hotel is very, very high. And one of the words that I like the most, it's intimate luxury. When you send your guest here, they feel like home. So they feel welcome in a place where they still have the comfort, the luxury of the 5-star, but they also surrounded by people that knows, people that experience, and then people that can share with them those points. Tailored outdoor experiences. This is going back to what I was saying. We can do for you the full concierge. You tell us and we deliver it to you. And of course, sustainability meet wellness, which means that we pay a lot of attention to our environment in a real way. I think this is all. I hope
Alberto, I think you've done an amazing job, and just giving you a strong sense of place. And I can really attest that I've had the opportunity to experience it myself. It's really exceptional, and the culinary experience there at Duipini, it's great. And as Alberto said, the access you have there from Campillo, it's interesting. Hang out with us a few more minutes because we have some interesting questions, Alberto. So we going to answer these quickly, and we have some great actually advisors joining us today. Thank you for joining us again. And Hope has a question about: are you participating to the True Dolomite event, which is coming up sometime soon?
No, we're not participating at this event. This is going to be held about 4 hours from us, and it was requested to us too late, so we decided to participate only on the Duco. We didn't have this plan and budget, so sorry, but we
And
won't.
I actually hope I would like to say, Ed, if you are going to this event, please let us know because we would love for you to, as Madonna, as Chalet Sogno will be open during that time to go to visit Alberto for a few days, either pre or post. And anyone joining, going to this event, True Dolomite, we'll be happy to have you experience the property when so reach out to us and we'll share some contact details as well as a follow-up, so you can reach out to us to request that.
Yeah, as Giuseppe mentioned, you're welcome to come on the way or on the way back of the True to visit and to be our guest. It's only 2.5, 3 hours, but they wanted to do it in another area, so that's the why. But happy to
Yes.
host.
Another question is from Lisa. How far is the drive between your hotel and Ortisei, as well as Bolzano and Cortina?
So from Bolzano, it's only an hour and 40, an hour and 30, depending on traffic, but very short. Ortisei is located here. So from us to Ortisei is actually 2.5 hours. And then from us to Cortina is 3.5 hours. So Cortina is located Cortina is in the region of Veneto, Ortisei in the region of Alto Adige, where they speak German, and Madonna di Campiglio is in the region of Trentino. So will be the arch. Between us and Cortina is 3.5 hours.
Thank you again, Lisa, for that question. And another question, can you comment on the nightlife, pre-scene and restaurants, and how close is the hotel to the village? Looking for clients that stayed in San Anton last year, excellent skiers who love the nightlife.
Okay, that's a good question because I didn't go to this. Just outside of the balcony of the hotel, there is the view of a 5 minutes walk to the center town. So this is very easy to reach. There is at least 10 different après-ski. In the Italian culture, we have more also the aperitivo. So there is always the option to do the après-ski on every of the 15 different huts that we are surrounded. And that goes until usually 5:30. And then people normally comes back to the shower, to the spa, and go back for the aperitivo at 7. So Campiglio is still one of the places that has great aperitivo time and a lot of alternative in restaurants. Nightlife, we don't have anymore as many disco as we used to have in the past because the customer are changed, but we have a lot of places where they do music and food together, or for example, hanging and listening to live music, or for example, you go to a mountain hut, a refugio with a snowcat, and you experience a full night there with the food and the music, etc., etc. So there is still great nightlife here.
And I've done that. That's really fun with the snowcat to go to this remote, amazing restaurant. Thank you, Alberto. Also, snow at Christmas has been scarce. How reliable is in this area?
Oh, that's another good question. So the first answer is there is not yes and no. There is not any true from anybody that will tell you. I can tell you after 30 years that I travel all over the world, you can have some years California has great snow amount and Dolomites has not. France, yes, and maybe, I don't know, Switzerland, no. For instance, this year we have great condition in December versus some other part, for example, in France, where there was nothing. It was green. Last year, Austria and Switzerland, they have their problems. And for example, Mammoth was, and all the American part was hammered by snow. So I don't think for the weather we have any consistency anywhere in the world anymore. What I can tell you is that here we have one of the best snowmaking in the world. And we're places in an area, you can see it where we are, where Garda Lake effects usually load up by humidity, the weather storm, and normally we get always 20% more snow than Cortina and then this area. But not because I'm saying this, simply because the geography, it's that we're surrounded by the Dolomites and the Adamello, and this brings the weather from the south right before to us, and then it travels to the next area of the Dolomites. So in general, we have been opening since the last 10 years on the 20th of November, and we're closing after the 10th of April. This year, we actually closed the 26th of April after Easter. So as I said again, we had this year 15 feet of snow, which is not bad. It depends what you're comparing and how it goes.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much. And I must say that you have a great facilities for snowmaking there in Madonna di Campiglio. So it's really exceptional. Thank you. Another
Yeah.
question is, do you anticipate any changes in the area after the Olympics coming up?
The question is myself, Alberto, or the Chalet del Sogno?
Or the area, the Chalet Sonia, will it be the area be affected by the Olympics? Any changes to the area? I
No,
think actually
no.
you're not, no.
No, just to explain you better. So, well, myself, I will following the Olympic course of the snowboard cross because that's one of my duty. And this is based in Livigno. So Campiglio will not take any events major, but in a way, it's also good because we'll be one of the area which is perfectly center to the Olympics, and it won't be, let's say, closed up for security. You have to think that Cortina, as well as, for example, Val di Fiemme for the Nordic, there will be 9 clusters. So the Olympic will be spreaded within 6 hours of drive. Cortina, it's here. Milano, it's actually here. And Livigno is in Lombardy region. Between these, there is another 6 clusters. Each of the cluster will have a different discipline. So snowboard will be in Livigno, for example, with freestyle ski. Nordic will be in Val di Fiemme. Alpine women will be in Cortina, but Alpine men will be in Bormio. So you have to pay a lot of attention on what your clients want to follow. For example, if they want to follow a few events, Campiglio is a perfect place to sit and go visit one or the other. You have to think that from Cortina to Bormio, so men's Alpine to women's Alpine, there is about 4.5 hours drive. Okay.
And that's also great that hosting, so your clients actually can ski there
Yeah.
while if days that are not interested in following any sports events, they can also ski as well.
Well, one of the options I just sold is they doing 3-4 days skiing with us, and then they go 2 days in Livigno to watch the event because they have, let's say, the daughter which is doing the half pipe or whatever. But this is basically the places where the Olympic are hosted, they're shut down for skiing for the
Yeah,
majority.
thank you. And
Mhm.
then how far are you from Cortina? I think we answered this, but it's better to repeat this again. How far are you from Cortina?
3.5 hours. So it's a perfect combination in summertime to do the hiking in both of the area because they have, I'm not saying there is not a better one. I'm just saying we're just different with different beauty, with different authenticity, and it's only 3.5 hours. In wintertime, I would say yes, 3 hours, 3.5 hours. Don't be aware, don't be scared about the road because the road here, it's mountains, but they're very well clean. It's not like US or Canada. Here, usually you can travel pretty easily between places.
Excellent. And well, one question about the fireplace. There's one of the pictures. I think that one Denise is mentioning is about one in a restaurant. It was a fireplace in a restaurant, but there are some fireplaces in the actually they're not fireplaces, but they are how you call them, Alberto, in the suite as
Oh,
well.
can you see this one on the screen?
Yes, that's one of them. There's
So
several of
this
them
is
in
the
front
one
of the
in the
property.
lobby that is fired up every day in wintertime. This is made by a family called Colizzoli, and they do only this by job. So there is another 16 in the rooms. They're very characteristic.
Yes, and then the one we saw before in the picture was one in the restaurant as well.
Yes,
Thank
the
you,
one
Denise.
there is other ones in the rooms as well, and they're electric in the
Yes,
room, not with wood, obviously.
yes, for fire safety.
Yes, for
Um, for
safety.
Mary mentioning just a wonderful presentation. Thank you again for joining us, Mary. And then, Sharina, what is the average length of stay for guests that you recommend?
In winter time, it's 5.5, so 5-6 days, because people tend to ski more and stay more here. In summertime, it's more 4.5. So I would say the minimum is 3 nights, also due to the weather. In summer, you can do 3-4 nights is already very good to get to experience the area and then move to Garda or move to the next Dolomites or move to the city.
And it's easy to combine, as we mentioned, with other destinations, as you can see on the map here,
Yeah.
with Verona, Venezia, Lake Garda,
Yeah.
and of course Milan.
In
Thank
this
you.
map, here is Ortisei and here is Cortina. So that's why we're saying the eastern Dolomites, which are here, to the western one that are here. We are closer to Garda compared to Ortisei and Garda and Cortina. Cortina to Garda Lake, it's a long ride, as well as Ortisei. It's almost an hour and a half more.
Thank you. And then they're just thanking us for the great presentation. Thank you, Tom. And another question, do you have your own guide for hiking Via Ferrata, or do you suggest we work with a local DMC?
That's, well, of course, I'm a small property, so if it's better for us, it's better for us to work directly. I have all my list of guides, and of course, I'm one of the guides as well. So sometimes as an amenity, I'm going directly with them. If not, we have, that's the difference between us and other properties. If you want to have a Spanish teacher, for example, because you have Mexican clients, you ask me and I can give you exactly the name of the teacher, or I speak to the director. We only have 2 ski schools that work with us. I have an Alpine guide that work with us. Most of them are my friends. I need, for example, a biking guide. I'll get the bikes as well with the biking guide. So all the concierge, we can do it directly. You have to think that most of the DMC ask also us suggestion to use services, because we are from here, so we know actually what we wanted to deliver. So you can get everything directly.
Thank you so much. And any minimum length of stay during the festive season?
Yes, normally in the peak season we have 6 nights. So during, let's say, from the 24th of December to the 8th of January, and during the carnival period, so middle of February next year, from the 9th to the 21st of February. Otherwise, is 5 or 4 nights, depending on the period. In summer, it's less. In summer is 3-4 nights as a minimum stay, but please reach out, because time to time we can also let come in for 2 nights in summer, depending on how to. We would love to welcome on any dates and any, but as we have only 18 suites, for us it becomes a little more.
Festive is 7 nights, as you mentioned. So it's, yes, that's
Yeah.
the requirement. Thank you for that question. And I think that's it. I think we have answered all the questions. And thank you again for your engagement. We really appreciate it. So many of you, and actually so many, I see a few of the names that have been booking the property quite regularly. Thank you. Like, for example, Joe Colucci has joined us as well. So we really appreciate you joining us.
Ciao, Joe.
And thank you for everyone else. And you'll receive a follow-up within a day with the recording, so you can actually review this your own whenever you need it. And as well, we will share the contact information for Alberto. And we have actually a great offer we mustn't forget, for this summer. We offer 15% commission for a 3-night stay minimum. And it includes also a half-day guided tour with Alberto. So your clients will enjoy his guiding and his company in the Dolomites of Brenta for a 3-night stay with a gourmet picnic featuring delicious local products as well. And again, this offer is only valid for bookings made by June 8th. So you have limited time to make this for any summer bookings, which are from June through early October. Thanks again, and we're looking forward to you hearing from you. And thank you, Alberto, for your great
Thank you very much,
presentation.
everyone.
It's great to see you again.
Yes, and please reach out for any questions. We're always happy to welcome and give you the most information. Thank you, everyone, again.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye.